The truth is, you're the weak, and I'm the tyranny of evil men. But I'm trying real hard to be a shepherd. Gather round, viewers, as today we have a look at the new Star Ace Pulp Fiction Jules Winnfield 1/6 scale collectible action figure. So before we get a closer look at Jules, let's figure out how tall the figure stands, and putting it right to the top of his head. There we go. The figure is just a little over 12.5 inches. 12.5 would be a good guess, 12.5 inches. Or if you want to look at that in centimeters, then the figure stands exactly 32 centimeters. For display stand options, he comes included with an oval-shaped display stand featuring Pulp Fiction along the top. It would have been nice if they had put like a little placard on the front that would have said Jules Winnfield, but at the very least, I'm glad that we get ourselves a display base, and I'm also glad that we get ourselves a base that has Pulp Fiction written across the top. At the top of the clip, at the top of the neck, is a waist clip in which that's going to fit around the figure's torso. To be fair, though, the figure stands perfectly fine. It's not as if I really necessarily need it. Sometimes what I do when it comes to figure stands like this, for example, I just take the stand part out. I just take this out completely, and then I just put the figure on top of the stand like so. If the figure perfectly stands, I don't feel the need necessarily to incorporate a clip that's going to go around his torso. At the very least, what I do want is a display stand that's going to say something about the movie or the name of the character. Why don't we first have a look at his accessories? His accessories are generally small, but they're accessories that are relevant and have significance in the movie, certain key scenes. One of which being the Big Kahuna burger scene, in which you get yourself the beverage cup, as well as the burger itself, the cornerstone of a nutritious breakfast. That is a tasty burger. The burger itself even has, I mean, looking at it, it has even a certain sheen to the actual bun that you could feel as if you could eat the burger itself. You got some cheese, some ketchup, you've got the patty there as well. It's a neat looking, a little small accessory, yes, but a very cool, accurate part to the movie itself. Then, of course, you've got the beverage. I like this little touch. They've got a straw. Now, the straw can come out completely, or you can, move the straw up and down. The lid doesn't appear to come off on the front, though. You've got Big Kahuna burger there on the front, and some nice striping around the side there. Really an exceptional looking piece here. Jules also includes his pistol, which is painted rather nicely here in metallic silver. It's got a nice sheen to it, and they've panel-lined areas around the handle, the rivet portions of the handle, and then the top portion of the gun. Even the smallest details, the auto ordnance core, 48 caliber automatic, I think that's actually what it says on the thing, and there's a little bullet symbol. While the top portion doesn't move, however, it does have a removable clip. And the clip, if you can see it, even has a bullet in the top of the casing there. And that just slides into place. Slightly smaller than that, he also comes included with his bracelet, which can be put around his wrist, simply just in case of popping off the hand. Here, we'll go ahead and do that right now. I believe it is on this side. We'll slide up the arm. A little more difficult because he is wearing the shirt underneath there. And then we'll take the bracelet, and then we'll revisit the hand. There we go. It's one of those things where you're really not going to see it all that well while he is wearing the suit and the shirt. It would entertain the idea then that you probably could just leave it off in its entirety, but if you're somebody that is a stickler for details, you could of course keep that on his arm here. Speaking of arms, or speaking of hands, I guess, he does come with a series of interchangeable hands. Currently, he's defaulted to the relaxed hands that came included out of box. This is simply defaulted out of box, but he does come with a burger holding hand, if you will. Or if you want to display it, he also comes with a cup. And you can put that up to his mouth. Probably maybe something I would entertain doing. And then he comes with a couple of trigger finger hands. Just to show you, you can fit the gun in. Actually, this one here is not quite suited for the holding the gun. This one here, however, is, we'll just slide that into place. And it sits quite comfortably right around the trigger finger. And then he's also got this hand right here, which I guess is better, maybe suited for holding the beverage. You can have it angled like this, or you can take the burger and angle it like that if you want a little bit of a pointing finger action happening. Also, to come included with the figure, he comes with his shirt, his t-shirt, and his shorts. Completing the wardrobe swap out, he also comes with his sandaled feet. Just to show you right there, they are just pegged on the top. There we go. And then we'll replace those out, but I'm not going to replace them out just yet. For the involved steps of removing the jacket, removing the belt, and the shirt, we'll have a look at this outfit first, and like Cher, he'll come back with a swap out of a different outfit. But in the meantime, I just want to show you, it does come on a cardboard insert, very reminiscent, very accurate to how it appeared in the movie, very bright colored shorts as well. Now let's have a look at Jules Winnfield in his suit and shirt. Really nice representation of how he looks, like I said, in the movie itself. The tailoring on this is done quite well, right down to the fact that he does have, just drop the hand, right down to the fact that he does have a fully working belt. This is nothing new, of course, for Star Ace. They've perfected the seam work and the materials on these cloth outfits for the longest of times, having done the Harry Potter film, the characters as well. We'll have a look at his head. I'll go retrieve the hand, and we'll resume with this review. I must say I'm very happy with the head portrait that they've sculpted here. It is very accurate to how he looks in the movie, right down to those curled sideburns. I love that. I may say one thing about the head sculpt. While I like the face area here, one thing I may have done differently is I may have added a little bit extra lift to his hair. Jules in the movie, of course, has a very tight sort of fro hairstyle, but I feel like it's a little bigger than this. Certainly at times it gets a little bit crazier. I probably would have filled this out just a little bit more than what it is, but still, as it goes, I'm very impressed with the head sculpt. And to think that they would have gone in and just sculpted all these individual tight curls is really a phenomenal sight. The face sculpt, like I said, is really good. Does capture the likeness of Samuel L. Jackson, right down to his handlebar mustache. Paint's really good. Paint is kept minimal here. I mean, he does have a little bit more of a, if you want to say, rosier complexion around the cheeks. Eyes have a little bit of reflection happening there too. Really happy. Like I said, shy of just filling out the hair, just making a little bit on the bigger side. I couldn't be happier with this head sculpt. And like I said, as for his outfit, he's got his tailored suit jacket, a pair of matching slacks, a pair of very shiny dress shoes, and we'll just lift this up for a second. He doesn't seem to have necessarily a sock. Well, I guess he does have the equivalent of a sock, but it seems attached to the belt, or to the lower of the pants. The laces aren't necessarily real laces, but they are simulated. They're sculpted in place. Very, like I said, very shiny shoes. There's the undersoles of the under treads of his feet. The jacket even has small details like working pockets. I guess there could be something you could fit in there if you had some extra accessories to go with. Also the lapel pocket is an actual working pocket. That's good. I like that. And then he does have a rather crisp tie. It feels like it's a little bit more of a nylon material versus the more cotton material of his jacket. Just move that to the side. And you can see the very noticeable buttons. Kind of wish that these were a little on the smaller side, but very, again, nice seam work done to the shirt. Doesn't appear to be well, maybe appears to be a slightly working pocket. Does look like there's a stitch line across the top there, so you probably can't fit anything in there. Then, of course, he's got the belt. The one thing I'm a little more worried about when it comes to changing out his clothes is the belt, simply just because I'm going to have to loop that out, take the pants off, and then when I'm changing him back to the suits, I'm going to have to repeat those steps. But you can see how even the belt, much like a real working belt, is looped through the looplets there of his belt here, or of his pants. To get this guy into his shorts and shirts, his t-shirts, we're going to go ahead and pop the hands off, just like that. If you've ever dressed yourself in a suit, removing the suit on this figure would be no different than removing the suits on yourself, other than for the fact that you're doing it on a much smaller frame. So we're just going to go ahead and slide the jacket off. There we go. And on the other side, the tie is a little bit more of a trickier feat because, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually unelasticized. It's like a little clear elastic. The best thing to do is take off Jules's head first. Then there's a whole lot less that you have to get it around. We'll just slide that off like that, and then we can go ahead. This is all Velcro, so it's a lot easier to take the shirt off. The hardest, trickier feat will be putting the shirt back on and getting it tucked into the pants. We'll slide that off like that. Very carefully, very, very carefully, go ahead and take the belt, slide it through. It's a slightly more thinner material as well, so even though it is just exactly like putting a belt on yourself, you just want to be very careful. You don't necessarily have to take it off the loops, so you can keep that in place and just unvelcro the front. And then we're going to go ahead and slide this off. One thing you also want to do too is take the feet off, because the feet aren't necessarily something you need anyways. You're going to be, of course, swapping them out for the sandals. So just go ahead and very carefully just kind of pop it off the ball joint here. Then with the feet off, just slide the pants right off his legs. Again, making sure the Velcro is open because you need that little extra bit of clearance. And there we go. Now we got to go ahead and dress him up again. Taking the liberty of already putting the shorts on, we'll just bring the arms up like this. Take the t-shirt. It's like dressing a small toddler. If you know a small toddler that is this tiny. And we'll just feed it through. Get the armholes of the t-shirt lined up with the pegs of the hands. There we go. There's one side. And then go ahead and just get the shirt around the other side. T-shirts are always generally a little bit more, or shirts I should say, are always a little bit more finickier getting them onto the 6-scale figures. And then of course we're going to get it around the ball joint, the head, and just slide everything down. Just keep sliding away, getting the head cleared. Putting the figure down might be a little bit easier. There we go. And we've got one t-shirt on one torso of Jules. Let's go ahead and grab these sandals and just plug those into place. Grab the other sandal, plug that into place. There we go. And all we need is a head. Or should I really say all we need is a head and hands, and we've got ourselves Jules with his t-shirt and his shorts. We can go ahead and finish off that look by just popping the hand off, taking the bracelet that was a bit of a struggle before. We can slide that onto his forearm and popping that into place. I always like when Star Ace gives you these extra articles of clothing that you can swap your figures out with. Sometimes they're a little bit more on the trickier side, like the Harry Potter ones, because you have to take like the sweater off, then the shirt, the tie. This one is on par with that. I do like it. I like the options of being able to swap this out, but one thing about Jules, and really Vincent for that matter, is they're so iconic in their white shirts, the black ties, and the black suits, that I really would not probably consider giving them or ever showing them off in like the alternate attire here. It looks great, don't get me wrong, and I mean, even like the smallest of details sculpted in, you know, of course the sandals and the shirt looks exactly like it did from the movie. It looks really good, but when you think Pulp Fiction, I think Jules and Vincent more so in the shirts and the ties than I do in the alternate outfits. It's to note as well, when we do have a look at the Vincent, Vincent also comes with an alternate outfit, essentially a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. So I'll do a swap out of that when we have a look at that figure. But in the meantime, let's get him back into his more iconic suit instead. Repeating the steps back into a suit can be a little bit more of a trickier feat. Things that you have to be aware of are the belt, making sure, of course, you're not pulling too tight, as that is a slightly thinner material. Getting the suit tie around the neck can also be a little bit of a tricky feat. You want to just bring the collar up like you would normally put on a tie, and just be doing that, making sure that you don't break the elastic. And I guess the last one really is how tight the shirt gets underneath there. Once you get the suit in place, you may have to kind of just go in there with your fingers and relax the shirt a little bit so it's not all bunched up. One thing you can also do too is sort of kind of feed the shirt through the sleeve as you're putting the jacket on, not just quickly put the jacket on, because that's where you're going to get a little bit more of the bunching of the shirt. But once in place, it's definitely a much happier look, at least from my standpoint. I'm much happier with him wearing the shirt, the suit, and the tie versus the t-shirt and the shorts. That's just my preference, just because of that, again, that's how I imagine both Jules and Vincent in the movie. It just makes more sense to have them displayed like this. Okay, so running through his posability, his head rotates all the way around. His head, as well as the bottom of the ball joint, it's basically like a dumbbell ball joint. Ball joint at the top and at the bottom. It means that when you are moving the head, you get much more of a generous amount of posability happening. The head can tilt up, down, left, right, and all the way around. The shoulders hinge outward. I will say, though, that the material that they use for the shirt underneath and couple that with the jacket does bunch up, and I just find myself kind of readjusting it. You probably saw me doing it a couple of times, just kind of fixing the shirt as I'm going along. It does mean, though, when you are bringing, say, for example, his arms forward, you do get a bit of a bunch happening right here in the shoulder area. It does get a little on the tight side, but to the credit, you can still get the arms out, I should say that way, and of course you can face them out this way as well. He does have a double bend at the elbow. He has a rotation in the bicep area, and each of the individual hands do rotate. One thing, though, is as you are rotating the hands, you may find that they do pop out of the ball joint frequently, just because of the nature of the fact that they are small pegs. He does also have an upper torso crunch and a waist swivel. Being mindful, of course, that you don't accidentally pull too much of the shirt out. You may find yourself doing this a lot as well. For his leg posability, his legs split to about there, forward and back. He has not one, but two hinges in the knee, a top swivel cut on the thigh, basically right around there he's got that swivel. And then down for the feet, if I just move the pant leg up, feet hinge up and down, slight rocking back and forth, and you can rotate the feet all the way around. Pulp Fiction's Jules Winnfield is a nice release from Star Ace. The portrait, I think, captures quite well the look of Samuel L. Jackson from that film. The only thing I would change, I think, to the head portrait is I would have made the hair just a little bit poofier, just a little bit more fro in Samuel L. Jackson. Other than that, I'm quite happy with the overall figure. He has accessories, not many, to be fair. He doesn't come with many, but he does come with ones, I think, crucial to pivotal moments in the movie itself. At the very least, I'm glad that he does get the Big Kahuna drink and burger, which is just as a little side note here in final looks. Unfortunately, I feel like I can't get both the burger and the drink in his hand. It so happens that the hands that hold the drink and the sandwich are on both the one side of his arm, unfortunately not on both. So ultimately, I tried to wedge the hamburger into one of his relaxed palms. It's a relatively successful accomplishment, but I wish that he had had maybe just one more hand, that he could have had both the burger and the drink very comfortably resting in both of his hands instead of trying to force it into one. Star Ace certainly are also the kings when it comes to wardrobe changes. They've very much proven that. When we've had a look at the Harry Potter releases, swapping out clothing has always been a nice welcome treat. Although I do feel like when it comes to Jules Winnfield, no offense to Star Ace, I appreciate for the fact that we get our t-shirt and a pair of shorts, but Jules Winnfield, as much as Vincent, I find are so iconic in their black suits, I would feel like I'm doing a disservice by changing it to anything else. I appreciate for the fact that they would have given us available alternate options for how you want to display Jules, but for me, it's as iconic as the movie itself. Him wearing the black suit, white tie, or white shirt, black tie, I think is just iconic. And that's going to be the way I'm going to display him. When we do have a look at Vincent, which will be coming up soon, you'll also see as well, he comes with a pair of interchangeable clothes. Again, very well appreciated, but I probably will keep them both likely displayed side by side in their black suits. That's just my own personal preference. Still, if you are interested in picking this one up for yourself, Jules Winnfield from Pulp Fiction is now available in online stores. I'd say in stores, but usually online stores are the best route to go if you want to add this one to your collection. I definitely would recommend adding this one to your collection. Is certainly, can't speak for everybody, but Pulp Fiction is one of those landmark movies. Everybody's heard of it, and to get characters based on that is all the much better. I think Star Ace so far has handled the property extremely well. Well, whether we'll get ourselves a Quentin Tarantino character, who's to say? But in the meantime, I'm certainly glad that we get ourselves a Pulp Fiction. You never know, we might even get ourselves a Reservoir Dog lineup. That would be pretty cool. Reservoir Dogs in 6 scale treatments. Sign me up. In the meantime, though, today we were having a look at the Star Ace Pulp Fiction. This was the Jules Winnfield 1/6 scale collectible action figure. I thank you for watching this video. If you want to watch more of these videos, make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below, as certainly more 6 scale reviews will be coming your way. And hey, now, if you want to go back and have a look at some of my previously looked at Star Ace releases, there's playlists there for you, and I've actually even subcategoried them as well. So if you want specifically just to check out the Star Ace Harry Potter stuff, it's there for you, as well as the other 300 pieces that they've released. Star Ace is really churning out some pretty awesome looking figures. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.